Hello and welcome into the latest edition of the Fore-All podcast. I'm Jesse Morrison alongside Max Bechtold. And Max, we have the Grant Thornton Invitational. It starts tomorrow on Friday. And we have some kind of breaking news that happened yesterday. No Tony Finau. It's going to be Nelly Korda and Daniel Berger now, not Nelly Korda and Tony Finau. He had off-season knee surgery. It was the reason why he didn't play in Tiger's event last week. He is revealed. A lot of people were speculating, I guess, that he was going to go to live. But thankfully he's not going to live, and he's just dealing with a knee injury. So what do you make of this? How does this affect the Korda pairing for this event? Because I really saw them winning Finau and Korda.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting. We don't really cover men's golf on this podcast much, but it's kind of fascinating that 2 years in a row at this exact same time, Tony Finau was heavily rumored to go to live. And, credit to him. Look, much of the live discussion I don't really care about anymore, but credit to him, he's quick on dispelling all the rumors, getting it out of the way, saying, I'm not leaving. It's not about live. But it was a little bit of a surprise because again, we've talked about Nelly and Finau are kind of the almost hosts of this event where they're the two biggest Grant Thornton sponsors. They share basically all their sponsors together. They do commercials together. They're all over the Grant Thornton ads. It was actually interesting. This news came out yesterday while I was in a movie. And I came out and looked at one of the TVs in the bar at the movie theater, and the news was going on the bottom of the screen while a commercial for the Grant Thornton was playing with Tony and Nelly. It was just like one of those really weird things to see. But yeah, no, this definitely shapes the event completely. I mean, going into this week, I had Nelly and Finau as my number two team that I was predicting. You'll hear who my number one is later. But I had them as my number two team. Now, Nelly and Berger, I have as my number four. And the reason I have them at number four is because you still can never bet against Nelly Court. Like, she is the best player in the world in the women's game, undisputed at this point. She's had an incredible season. She plays great on Florida courses. Now she has a fellow Floridian on her team in Daniel Berger, who probably about 6 or 7 years ago, this would have been a really attractive pairing, like to put together. Like Daniel Berger was a really really solid player, back about half decade ago. Now, like he's dealt with some injuries, he's kind of gone away. It'll be interesting to see how he kind of adjusts, but he's got a great crutch in Nelly Korda. Like this is a great situation to be thrown into if you're Daniel Berger is playing with the best player in the world.
All right. And so this is a 54 hole event with three different formats.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a scramble in the first round, foursomes alternate shot in the second round, and then modified four ball in the third round. We can get into the field now, which is going to be, as we mentioned, Nelly Korda teaming up with Daniel Berger, Akshay Bhatia teaming up with Jennifer Kupcho, Cameron Champ and Mel Reed, Corey Connors, Brooke Henderson, Jason Day, and Lydia Ko, which is they look like they have a very good chance of winning. Again, they won last year. Nick Dunlap and Gabby Ruffles, Ricky Fowler and Lexi Thompson, Max Gracerman and Andrea Lee, Tom Kim, Gino Titakun, Jake Knapp, and Patty. I'll let you say her last name.
Avatanikit, Patty
There you
T.
go. You're better at that than I am. Matt Kuchar and Megan Kang, Luke List, Lilia Vu, Matthew Pavone. I think I said that right.
I
Celine
think so.
Boutier, JT Poston, and Maya Stark. I think I said that one right too.
Yep.
Sahith Thagala, Allison Corpus, and Cameron Young, and Lauren Coughlin. So a lot of star power on the women's side of things. On the men's side of things, not so much. What do you make of that?
Well, I think this is a really good chance to get young men stars, kind of a big profile. So I really appreciate that. You see guys like Dunlap, Tom Kim, Sahith Theegala, but Bhatia, like these are like rising stars on the PGA Tour level that I think are going to be guys who we look at years in the future as big stars, and hopefully they continue to play in this event. Like once they're major champions, because I could totally see Theegala and Dunlap like winning majors very, very soon. And hopefully they continue to play in and support this event. And that's kind of what kind of sucks that Tony Finau had to drop out because he has been a big supporter of this event. And even in his statement withdrawing, he's talked about how he hopes this event continues and he hopes he can continue playing it because it's such a great event for golf. And so I hope other stars kind of continue that. Would I love to see a Rory McIlroy or a Scotty Scheffler or a Justin Thomas playing this week? Absolutely 100%. We've heard the phrase thrown out kind of liberally the last couple of years, growing the game. All these live players left to grow the game, and this is a great way
No,
to
they
grow
didn't.
the game. Yeah,
They
exactly.
left for the money.
But this is a great way to grow the game is playing in this event. So if these players want to talk about growing the game, it's time to put their money where their mouth is. I guess not even really because you're earning money for playing in this event. So, but like it's time to come and play in this event because it is a great way to grow the game. It's a great way to put a spotlight on the LPGA. But I want to make sure that I'm appreciative of the players that are playing because there are some pretty notable stars playing this week that didn't have to. They could be go spending the weekend with their families near the holidays, and they've decided to take time out of their schedules to play in this event, and I think that's a great thing. So while I wish this field got better, I am appreciative of the PGA Tour players that are coming and playing in this event.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think also, there's a lot of really, there's the best of the best LPGA players in this
Absolutely.
field. And it's a great opportunity for people that, usually might not watch the LPGA to be exposed to the best of the best on the women's side and maybe give the LPGA tour more of a, more of a look next season when the tour really gets going. All right, Matt.
100%. I just want to piggyback off that. If this is your first time watching women's golf this year, this is the best that the LPGA has to offer. Almost all of the best players on the tour are playing this week. Almost all of the biggest stars are playing this week. If you want to get a good look at preview of 2025 of the LPGA Tour, the best players are playing right now.
All right, Max. Best teams you think out of this group? Who is going to really, who do you think are kind of the contenders here?
Well, I'm stamping in my number one pick. It's up on the site right now. If you want to go look, I give a little bit of explanations on some of my favorite teams. The best team, absolutely by far, in my opinion, is Gino Titicun and Tom Kim. Like this is a team. Gino Titicun is coming off a win on this exact same course just a couple weeks ago. So like clearly she's got to have a ton of momentum, a ton of like just confidence going into this. And then you look at Tom Kim, who's the second highest ranked men's player in this event behind Sahith Theegala, and he's hasn't had the greatest second half of the season, but he finished runner up last week at Tiger's event. So like he's clearly got a little momentum as well on his side. So I think this is just the most well balanced team, the most well put together team, just one that has a lot of momentum right now. Gino Titicun, look, we sound like a broken record. She's absolutely incredible. She's going to be one of the best players on the LPGA tour for the next 7 or 8 years for sure. And her teaming up with Tom Kim, it just seems like a recipe for success. It just seems like a team who's going to win. I feel super confident. My secondary team is definitely Lydia Ko and Jason Day. Just coming off the win last year, Lydia Ko won on this course as an individual in 2022. She won as a team in 2023. She just clearly loves this course so much. She's won 3 times in total on this course in her career. And this is the team with just the best championship pedigree. Like you talk about like just a team that knows how to win. They have 35 combined wins on the LPGA and PGA tours, four combined majors. Like, this is a team that is a veteran team that can still play. Seems like a good team to bet on.
Who are you kind of intrigued about though? Like who's more of an intriguing pairing? Not somebody that you maybe are looking at as a winner. I mean, it can be, but somebody that is, or some a team that is, just kind of is interesting to you.
I've talked about the Lauren Coughlin and Cam Young pairing in the newsletter that I've put up recently, the Fore-All newsletter. Go subscribe to that, please. Where I put exclusive content on, including betting odds, and there's really good betting odds on Coughlin and Cam Young that I think you can really take advantage of. Cam Young just has the most gorgeous swing in all of golf, PGA Tour or LPGA Tour. I think he's got the best swing. I love what he does out there, how he moves the ball. He's a player that I've really come to root for on the PGA Tour in the last couple of years. And then Lauren Coughlin, obviously the breakout player of the year on the LPGA Tour. Again, a player we've talked about a lot. I think that's a team that a lot of people aren't really paying attention to that they should be. And then I'm gonna also talk about Gabby Ruffles and Nick Dunlap. Um, one of the teams I've picked this week. In my article previewing the event. They're two young stars, sure to be superstars on their respective tours within the next couple of years. Nick Dunlap this year won two events, one as an amateur and then one as a professional. Like he backed up that amateur win with a win as a pro. And Gabby Ruffles, who we've been waiting for like 5 years. I mean, her and Rose Zhang played in the U.S. Women's Amateur. It feels like almost a decade ago at this point. And so she's finally on tour. She lived up to it, played great early in the season, which kind of has led her to being in the Rookie of the Year race for a lot of the year. I could totally see her as a player that breaks out in the next year or two. So that's a team that I'm also really looking at.
For me, it's going to be uh more of, I guess, in a fun way why I'm intrigued with these two. Uh First off, Megan King and Matt Kuchar, because of the height difference. It's really funny
It
how
is
much
funny.
taller Matt Kuchar is than her. And then very nice story here. Sahith Theegala and Allison Corpuz, they were the champions of the 2004 Junior World Championship. And there's a picture of them together from when they were like little kids back in 2004 next to each other with their trophies. Who knew? Or, I mean, I guess it was kind of a precursor that they were that good at that age, but it shows them together at that age as little kids, So it's cool that they are, you know, uh, playing together now, and I
Yeah.
think that'll be an interesting one to watch for
It,
sure.
and it's a really interesting story. There's a article up on PGAtour.com. If you just scroll a little bit, it's like the third or fourth article up about Thigala and Corpuz. Yeah, they were 6 years old when they won the Junior World Championships. And apparently they met in the parking lot when they pulled up to the event, and their parents met, and their parents really hit it off. And they've been like family friends for like 20 years now. And it's actually interesting. I never noticed this at the time, but they had a picture of it where when Alison Corpuz won her major title last year at Pebble Beach, Sahith Theegala's dad was there helping spray with champagne on the green. Like that's how close they are. And obviously, we know this group was supposed to be Thigala and Rose Zhang, but it's pretty clear that Corpuz got brought into the fold when Rose Zhang got kind of knocked out of it when she withdrew. And it's pretty clear that Thigala said, hey, Allison, you want to come play? And they actually form a pretty good team. You got major champion in Allison Corpuz, a player that's super talented that just played great in the Solheim Cup and has played great in both of her Solheim Cup appearances. These are the same formats, so it should be a pretty good transition into this for her. I agree. I think that's a great team to look out for. I actually picked them as my third most likely to win because I think they just form a really, really good team that should have a ton of chemistry, and it's a really fun story to follow.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's for sure why it's intriguing to me. Just that they go back that that far. That's always cool. All right, who are some underdogs, maybe under the radar teams that could sneak up and win this?
I think I think it's not wise to ever bet against Lilia Vu. Now she's pairing up with Luke List. Um, Not necessarily like the most powerhouse pairing, but Lilia Vu can just grind it out. She's so good at putting. Like if you put her into a good position, she's just gonna convert every single time. I know she didn't play great in the Solheim Cup this last outing, even though she hit the winning putt. But you just again, kind of like Nelly Korda, you just can't bet against Lilia Vu. And then I look at Kupcho and Batia, like that's kind of a fun group. Like, who knows? Let's have some fun with that. Like, Kupcho obviously over the last couple of years hasn't been known as like the best player in these kind of formats. Like, without Lizette Salas, she sometimes struggles. But who knows? Like, Batia is a really, really fun player. Maybe she brings the best out of her. And then, of course, you got to look at Lexi and Ricky, the ultimate vibes team. I don't think they're going in thinking they have a chance to win, but maybe that's what propels them. Like, they just have good vibes with them. They're fun. Lexi approaching retirement. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a team that I think might play so loose that it's just like, oh, we find ourselves in the lead on Sunday. What?
Yeah.
And then they maybe pull off a win. I think it's unlikely, but I could see it happening just because I think they're going to be out there to have fun more than to really compete. And sometimes that's the best thing for playing golf, especially, which is such a mental game that sometimes just going out there and trying to have fun is the best option in golf. All right, Max, you sort of gave your prediction, but just give it officially.
Gino Titakun, Tom Kim are winning this event. I feel very confident in that. I don't see any way, honestly. I'm setting myself up for like a freezing cold take. I don't care. I don't see any way that this team isn't in contention on Sunday. This team is just destined for greatness this week. Like they are the best combination of two players. I think that they're going to play great.
All right, I'm going to go with Jason Day, Lydia Ko. I think it's a safe pick. They
Yep,
won last year.
absolutely.
And then if they do not win, I will say that I do think that just because she's on the team, I think that Nelly and Daniel Berger second best odds, and or there's probably odds out there for this, but I'm in my own personal odds, they've got the second best odds.
Absolutely. I mean, you can never bet against Nelly Korda, and I won't. Like, she could carry this team very easily.
All right, Max. Well, we have one more thing to get to today. 26 players from the Q series have earned their LPGA Tour card at final qualifying. We're recording on Tuesday, and that happened earlier today. What do you make of this? Do any of these players stick out to you? Who are you excited to see play on tour next year?
Yeah, I mean, there's one clear one. I mean, first of all, we'll talk about this a little bit more. We're gonna have 5 dry weeks of no LPGA. So at some point when we're talking about the rookies or something in January, we'll touch on these a little bit more. But Miyu Yamashita is obviously and clearly the standout of this group. She's one of the best players in the world. I think once again, we talk about these young stars. She's gonna slide right into that group. She somehow made the Japanese Olympic golf team this year because she just had an incredible run of like second place finishes. She wasn't even winning on the Japanese tour, but she was like getting top two, top threes. It was looking like Heiran Yu's season kind of, where it's like every week she's up there. The Japanese tour at this point is the second best women's golf tour in the world, and she was amazing on it. And so I think we're looking at a rookie of the year front runner right off the bat. Her and Rio Takeda seem clear to me as the rookie of the year front runners. So she's the name that really stands out there. But also you got Cernusek from Texas A&M, who won the national championship this year individually. She also qualified. So those are kind of the two big names that I'm looking at. But we also see the EY twins who have shown up and played really well in majors over the last couple seasons. They're going to be now on tour. So there's a lot to be excited about here. And also some of the older players too, like Elena Sharp, once again getting back on tour is a lot of fun. So
Who do you think other you mentioned Yamashita, and but are there any other players that you see potentially competing for Rookie of the Year next year out of this group?
yeah, Yamashita is really, really the one. Like I genuinely think she's gonna step in and be top 10 player on tour, probably maybe by the end of the season. Like I think that's a serious, serious conversation to have. But the EY twins are another one, and all of them are Japanese, and we see the evolution of Japanese golf. You know, it feels a lot like when Korea was just absolutely taking over 15, 20 years ago. That's what's happening with Japan right now. And these players are absolutely incredible. And I think, those, I would be shocked, honestly, if Rookie of the Year next year didn't go to a player from Japan. But Yamashita is the one that I'm obviously putting all of my chips in on.
All right. Well, what do you have up at the site right now that people need to be checking out? That's forall.com, FORE dash ALL.com. What's up there that people need to be checking out?
We'll have full coverage of Grant Thornton, and then that will kind of slide right into coverage of the PNC the next week, which Nelly Gorda and Annika Sorenstam are playing in. So coverage of the Grant Thornton and yeah, obviously, like I said earlier, check out the newsletter. There's a place on the site to sign up for it. Yeah, get some exclusive stuff. It's a lot more editorial. It's a lot more of my opinions. It's kind of a place where I pick a big story for the week and just kind of talk about it. So yeah, go check that out.
All right. Well, that will do it for this edition of the Fore-All podcast. Make sure to tune in next week because we will be talking about the PNC and getting to see Annika play.